Hello and welcome to the TES Secondary Maths Resource of the Week number 20 with me, Craig Barton. Now we're getting towards the end of term and we all know what it's like with students pressuring us left, right and centre. Sir, can we have a fun lesson? Miss, can we do something nice today? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm always of the opinion, and I've said this before on these series of videos, that I like to keep kids doing maths as long as possible, because I think as soon as you start banging DVDs on, the behaviour and stuff just goes absolutely down the tube. But at the same time, I'm completely aware of the kind of need to try and do something different. It's been a long term, everyone's knackered. So I'm always on the lookout for resources that are kind of mathematically sound, but also fun and engaging. And this one just completely fits the bill. Mathonolopy, solving equations, uploaded by one of my favourite resource creators, Daniel Burke. And if you haven't checked out Daniel's range of stuff on the TES, then get doing it now, because those figures don't lie. Downloaded 500,000 times. So he also credits one of my other favourite resource authors for the idea behind this, and it's an absolutely wonderful idea. And there's been a trend in recent years on TES for you creative people just to remix board games and TV shows and bring them into the maths classroom. So we've seen Catchphrase fairly recently, and Pointless, which is one of the most downloaded resources of 2012. Family Fortunes has been around, Snakes and Ladders, and then we had Math Scrabble the other week that popped up. But I hadn't seen this before, I hadn't seen Mathonolopy before, and this is just such a wonderful, wonderful idea. So let's take a look at it. It's a PowerPoint slide, and there's your classic Monopoly board. But as you'll notice, instead of having kind of properties, Old Kent Road and all that kind of stuff, we have equations on there. And it's really, really simple how it works. Students play in kind of 2s or 4s or whatever, roll a dice, and if they land on a property, instead of having to buy that property with cash, they've got to solve the equation. And if they get it right, then they own that property. And just like normal Monopoly, once they own that property, then if any other player lands on it, they can charge them rent and so on. And it's lovely because as you go around, the equations get harder and harder and harder. And by the time you get round to old Mayfair, flipping heck, it's all kicking off around there. So to earn Mayfair, you've got to really know your stuff in terms of these equations. So you've got your differentiation built in. Kids have got an incentive to try for the harder ones because they're more lucrative in terms of rent. But then the resource gets even better, because on top of that, those of you familiar with Monopoly will know they've got your chance cards and your community chest cards. So these all have little mathematical components to them, or bits of luck where you're winning points or losing points, and a bit of tactics, swapping points with opponents and all that. Community chests are a little bit on the friendlier side, but again, all sorts going on there. And a little twist: if you're a boy, give yourself 10 points. If you're a girl, lose 10 points, and all this kind of stuff. Really, really nice. And then there's all the equation cards printed out there, and there's all the rent cards. If you successfully own a property, you keep one of those and you charge rent and all that kind of stuff. And it's just absolutely brilliant stuff for getting the kids practicing solving equations. I always like to try and think of it a little bit extra when somebody uploads a resource, and I've spotted a little bit of potential here. There's nothing, as far as I could see, for if you land on the stations or the utilities, the electricity and the water company. So perhaps there's potential there. Perhaps they could almost be kind of challenge cards, that if a student lands on them, perhaps they could set a little mathematical challenge to their opponents, and if their opponents get it right, then perhaps nothing happens, but if they get it wrong, they must pay a couple of points to the person who set the challenge, assuming that they can get the right answer and all that kind of thing. Perhaps there's a little scope for extra rules to be built in. But for a fun, engaging, end-of-term resource, or in fact any time resource, to be honest with you, something this good, I think this is absolutely brilliant. So there it is, Mathonolopy, solving equations, kindly uploaded by Daniel Burke. And I'll be back with a fresh resource of the week to get you in the Christmas spirit next week. Take care and bye for now.